Alright people, Mike Saladin here again and welcome back to another Mass Effect Legendary Edition and Sandy Run video. Today we're on the Geth Destroyer. We've finally picked up Tali and this is the first mission when we have Tali back. We've had to infiltrate this Geth ship. I can't remember what we're here to do actually. We're here to blow it up I think. Or retrieve some data or something, and then one of the generals decides to blow it up anyway. So yeah, the Quarians have gone to war with the Geth once again. Shepard's going to be here to sort of sort it out. I've got it set up in this playthrough that we'll be able to negotiate and have the Geth and the Quarians both survive. Because we've got Legion here, and Legion will be able to upload himself and the Reaper code or whatever to the Geth once we get to that mission. I just like keeping the Geth and the Quarians both alive. It just feels really satisfying that you managed to end this war with both sides managing to cooperate with each other. But then I sort of always pick the destroy ending as well, and that means the Geth are sort of going to be eliminated. So that ending, it's the only one I usually pick, as it's the one that has Shepard breathing at the very end of it, so it feels like the real ending out of the three that you're given. It seems in that next Mass Effect trailer with Liara finding a part of Shepard's helmet or chest piece, the N7 logo on it, it seems that they're hinting something related to Shepard happening in that next Mass Effect game. So it seems like they're going to pick Destroy as the canon ending. That's not going to annoy me too much because that's the ending I always pick, but a lot of other people, maybe some of them really like the synthesis ending, where machine and man get combined into one new sort of race. That seems kind of strange that they would carry on that ending and do a fourth Milky Way Mass Effect game. And then the other ending where you control the Reapers, which never really made any sense to me either. What is the galaxy going to do with thousands and thousands of these Reapers just floating around the place that they're in control of? Will each planet have a collection of Reapers that they'll threaten their neighbours with? Like a nuclear option. I've got 500,000 Reapers on my planet, you've only got 12. We're going to invade your planet with our Reapers. Like, what is the purpose of keeping all those Reapers around? It makes no sense. So again, just blowing them up and destroying them. Because what other purpose do the Reapers have? They're just giant death machines. But I understand if some people like those other two endings, and they would be disappointed if I was going to call them Bethesda for some reason, if BioWare chooses to make one ending canon over the others. But I think they're going to have to do it if they really are bringing back Liara, and she's searching for Shepard. It seemed that seemed to be what it was hinting when she was uncovering that part of his armor, or her armor, from the snow planet. So that kind of implies if it was snow all around the place that Shepard crashed to Earth in Antarctica, or what's the North Pole? Or is that the South Pole? Antarctica, and what's the other one? I've actually forgotten what the other pole is called. Well, you know, one of the snowy poles of the planet, the North or South Pole, that implies that Shepard maybe crashed to Earth there somewhere. Maybe it's not even Earth, maybe it's just some other random snow planet, and it's not even anything to do with Shepard's armor. It could be some other random N7 operative's armor, and Liara's just looking at it and remembering Shepard. Liara looks pretty old, going by her face in that trailer. So it could be a few centuries later. I don't know how Shepard would be around for that if they did survive in that ending. Unless sort of Miranda was there and recovered the body again and did another Lazarus project. Lazarus 2.0. But then to keep Shepard alive for another few centuries, they locked him in Javik's little cryogenical freezing pod or whatever. And then they buried it in some frozen planet, and Liara's going to get it. Now that's kind of too dumb. But yeah, I'm really interested to see where that next Mass Effect game goes. I think bringing back older characters is the right move, and setting it in the Milky Way again is the right move. Because Andromeda, they didn't flesh out Andromeda enough. The planets you went to, the species you interacted with, you only interacted with one species who I can't even remember the name of. I remember the enemy was called the Ket, but they were basically like a harvested version of the one enemy or the one species you meet. You really needed like 5 or 6 new races and new planets with a lot of history and culture for players to latch onto to get invested in that new Andromeda galaxy, and they just failed to do it. So I think going back to the Milky Way is the right option. I'm not saying you have to bring back every single character, and maybe just bringing back Liara will be enough of a thread to connect people to the Shepard trilogy that you will feel more invested in whatever's happening. Because I don't know if bringing Shepard fully back would be a good move. Maybe it is better that they just end, their story ends with the trilogy. But as for Liara and sort of maybe the Krogan characters like Rex or Grunt, who can live for like 1,000 years if they're look after themselves and don't get shot too much. Grunt or Rex could still be around if it's a few centuries later. And just a few characters from the trilogy like that being in the background somewhere, sort of making sure that we'll have some investment in this new game. I think that's a good idea. But again, as I've said in many other videos, my real wish for that next game is that you can pick one of the 5 main races to play as. Krogan, Turian, Asari, Quarian and Solarian. Don't know who's gonna play as a Solarian because they're pretty I don't know, they're not known for their combat skills or whatever, and they're pretty short-lived. They have like a lifespan of 40 years or something, is it? If they're lucky. I know Morden, he brought up the rep of the Solarians quite a lot because a lot of people love his character and he is badass. And he definitely made me like the Solarians a lot more. But I'm not sure I would choose to play as them. It would be nice to have the option, like Dragon Age, to have the 4 or 5 races you can play as. And I might eventually do a Solarian playthrough if it was an option. But again, it is so much work to create an RPG with like 4 or 5 playable races. And if you're voicing the protagonist and you need a male and female option, apart from the Asari, they only need the female option for each race. That is a lot of dialogue, that's a lot of actors. So I do understand why they decided in Mass Effect, even in Andromeda, just to be a human again. But I'd probably do something like, if you really can't afford to have 4 or 5 races, I would just pick one other than humans for once. Like, most people like the Turians, I guess, and they're pretty well known for being good soldiers and whatever. So maybe being able to choose between a male and a female Turian would be a good idea. I think the Turians and the Asari are probably the 2 most popular races. Asari, I would love to play as an Asari, but I understand that people wouldn't like not having the option to be a male character. You would have to be a female Asari only or whatever. Well, they're not. The Asari aren't actually female. They're like gender neutral or monogendered. They're both genders at the same time, or however Liara describes it. So it's kind of different. But most people just perceive them as female because, well, they do look a lot like human females, just blue and with the head tendrils instead of hair. So, but yeah. If I had to pick one race that I think would please most people to be something other than human, I'm guessing it would be Turian. Because people love Gars. Like, all you'd have to say is this is Gars' nephew, great grand nephew or something. 100 years in the future or something. And people might get linked into it. But I'd also really like to play as a Krogan. I mean, that would just be badass. Female battle master Krogan or something like that. But again, I'm kind of getting way ahead of myself by looking so much at this next Mass Effect game, because Dragon Age definitely is going to come out first. And probably spend... oh, nearly stepped on that mine, that was close. Yeah, what was I saying? Dragon Age is definitely going to come out first, and then there's probably going to be like a year or 2 years of it being supported with DLC if we're lucky, if it's successful enough, because like Andromeda wasn't that successful, so they just binned all the DLC that was planned immediately, which in hindsight was probably a mistake. Like, they could have brought that game's reputation around if they put out some really great DLC. And introduced the Quarian arc and gave you like a new Quarian squad mate. That could have been interesting. Do a few expansion DLC like that. But I think Andromeda's reputation was so bad at that point that people would just have trashed anything that came out, whether it was good or not after that. Now, I don't hate Andromeda, but there was a lot of fair criticism in my opinion. There was stupid stuff like the facial animation and whatever, and yeah, that deserved to be mocked, but that wasn't even any of the real issue with the game. The real issue was the writing and how the plot was structured, and how there just wasn't enough new races, or how the Andromeda galaxy just felt like the planets were just like a desert planet, a snow planet. Just stuff we'd already seen a million times in other sci-fi and in the original Mass Effect. Do like a really, really crazy planet that people haven't seen before. Some bizarre, trippy jungle with giant mushrooms, I don't know. I'm not a game designer. Make it look like Morrowind, some trippy giant mushroom planet with like two-headed aliens. Or like one face is on one side of the head, and then the other face is on the back of the head, and they have two different personalities. Some alien, like, just go mad, do strange, very strange aliens, and just don't rely so heavily on the Milky Way races, because you did sort of have to have like Turians and Asari and stuff there, because people do expect it, but you really needed to flesh out Andromeda with new races as well. Otherwise people just don't care. They're just like, let's go back to the Milky Way because that has all the cool races and people we know and care about. Like, the original Mass Effect had to come up with all these races for the Milky Way, and it did like an excellent job of introducing like maybe 10-15 races. As soon as you hit the Citadel, you see them all wandering about. You speak to the Hanar, you speak to the Volus, you speak to the Elcor, You run into Turians, Solarians, they're all over the place. Every corner you turned in the Citadel, there was someone new to speak to or look at or help out. And you just got a real sense of the universe that they had created, and you were immediately hooked in and wanting to learn about each of these races. Andromeda needed to do something like that, where instead of just landing at the Nexus, where it's all these races that we already know, they should have found some sort of, not a citadel, because that would be too much like the original, but maybe some planet that's like a hub for all the Andromeda races. Some sort of planet where they all converge together, and then you land there and you just spend a good like 3 or 4 hours on this first planet, meeting all these new races in some grand city of Andromeda. I know that's just me throwing out random ideas, but doing a lot of rambling today, but it's just because this Geth Destroyer mission. It's not really that much to talk about with it, really. Just we've rescued Legion, and now the fleet are we've shut down whatever they've been using Legion for here. And the Quarians are like, okay, the ship's vulnerable, they're no longer broadcasting their signal or whatever, and they're going to just fly in and blow the thing up, and they don't really care that Shepard's on board, who is, at this point, I'm sure most people in the galaxy, even the Quarians who've been busy with this war, will have heard that he's spearheading the resistance against the Reapers. But they're just like, nope, we've got to destroy this one Geth ship, who cares if Shepard, like the most important military leader aside from Admiral Hackett or whatever, is about to get blown up. Also, Tali is one of their admirals as well, and they're just going to blow her up. So I can actually see why they've done that, though. It's because they want some players to have a reason not to side with the Quarians later, because they were like, you were going to blow me up on that ship, I'm not helping you, I'm going to go help the Geth. Because yeah, they've been shooting at me for 3 games now, but it's because they were programmed by the Reapers or whatever. The heretics needed to be rewritten, and once they've got their own self-awareness that Legion provides them, and they turn into an actual true AI, each of them, you could be persuaded to go, oh yeah, I like these Geth, we'll help them out. These Quarians, one of them tried to blow me up on inside one of the ships, so yeah, screw them. So I can't see why they have done this, even though it is kind of silly that the admirals would follow along with this plan, because Shepard is well known around the entire galaxy that he is in charge of this attempt to recruit everyone for this final attack on the Reapers to retake Earth and whatever. And then really the whole alliance is going to fall apart. Not the human alliance, but you know, the alliance between all the races. Like the peace he's brokered between the Krogan and Turians and the Solarians. Since we saved their councillor, the Solarians did send a fleet into our little war assets gauge. So I'm kind of missing having Liara here and being able to just hit everyone singularity. But Tali's doing a good job hacking enemies and putting out her little drone. And Gar's, she's been doing pretty well too. There's a Geth Prime around there. It's going to be tricky until we get his shield down. Once his shield's down, Gar should just completely destroy him. Come on. Okay, he's putting our shield down. Yeah, there, Garth must have got his shield down and completely obliterated his health. Normally, when you don't have Garth fully upgraded, or you don't bring him into your party, the Geth Primes are one of the more intimidating enemies. They're up there with the Brutes and the Banshee, I'd say, as for deadly enemies. There's a part of the mission on Rannoch where you have to fight a room full of them. I think there's 4 or 5 of them. It's a pretty small area. That's probably going to be tricky. We'll definitely be bringing Gars for that mission. And I think Tali has to get brought in that mission too. But again, she is useful against the Geth because she's got all her hacking abilities and whatever. So it's not too bad, but I would rather have Liara there because once I get Geth's shields down, it is nice to stay hit them with singularity and then they're floating about in the air and sort of just completely stunned for a while until you can take them out, or they just become a sitting duck really and really easy to take down. Come on. I think the escape's pretty easy. I don't think we have to fight anyone. Just have to make it up to Legion there, and then we'll board one of the little Geth fighters and we'll just cruise out of here. Yeah, I know, I'm going. I'm only really getting slowed down because the game keeps exploding stuff right next to us and stun locking us, which was pretty annoying, but I get why they do that. It's to ramp up the tension. It does work the first time you're doing that. You're like, oh god, I've got to get off the ship, it's got to blow up. But every other time you just know you have enough time to get off. And it's kind of just an annoyance that they keep stun locking you with random explosions. But yeah, we're on the little Geth fighter now, and we've escaped, and I'll let the Quarians just blow this destroyer up. So yeah, that's basically the end of that mission. So thanks again for watching. We'll be back next time. I think it is the Rannoch mission we'll be doing next. We'll be fighting those Geth primes. Hopefully it'll go as smoothly as this mission. We didn't have too much trouble with it. So I think we're at a point now we're so overpowered that nothing should really hurt us too badly. Alright, see you later people.